before we even go to the next car, man, one thing that you just touched on very passionately is going to the track. I know you're builder for the M3 as far as having it track ready all the time for you. Low motion, those guys over there. And I always see something being done to that car or prepping it. What is this love that you have for tracking, man, and how did you get into it?
Okay, so let's start from the beginning. Basically, I loved cars since I was a kid. I've had a subscription to Motor Trend when I was probably like 10 or 11. Always playing with cars. I liked cars, airplanes, and guns, and I still do. I just don't have an airplane. I used to fly, but that's a different story. Anyway, so I've had this love for cars for a long, long time. First car was, I used to drive my dad's 87 Mark 7 Lincoln with a Mustang engine, but tuned more, had a little bit more power. It was a heavy car. Yep. And I almost killed myself in it a few times. Then I got an 87 Acura Legend that was 10 years old. That was my first car. And I threw some 17-inch Nichi. No, they were knockoffs of Nichi Bellas, if anybody can remember those. Yes, yes. Shit. So here I was with this old Legend, old Legend 5-speed. It was almost like not a similar color to the M6, but it had a little bit more beige flake in it. It looked a little bit more champagne. That was my first car. I kept that thing clean as hell. I drove it to whatever it could be driven to. And that was that. And then I got a 94 Legend Coupe. That was my always dream car.
Come on, you did not have a Legend Coupe.
Yes, I did. A 94 with the Type 2 motor, white, taffeta white with black interior. And that was a shit back then.
This interview done. That is every car guy's.
Absolutely. That car was awesome.
Dream car. The 94 Acura Legend Coupe.
Yep.
That was it. Especially with the Type 2.
Especially with the Type 2, because they came out with the Type 2 in '93. Mine was an L, not an LS, and I wish it was manual. It was automatic. That thing used to chirp second. 230 horsepower with the Type 2.
That was a big deal back then.
Yeah, it was. That was, and it's like nowadays, 230 horsepower is a freaking joke.
It is.
You know?
But the conversation about power now, we'll get back to that.
Yeah,
but yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that was my baby. I was sad to get rid of it, but I did get rid of it for a 97 E36 M3.
Okay. That was a really nice transition.
Absolutely, and that's where my love for BMW and motorsport began, with the capabilities of that car.
Right.
So that's that. So now moving on to track. Obviously, if you're into cars, you like to drive fast, things of that nature. I went to the quarter-mile tracks. Yeah, that's cool and everything, to each his own. But I like the challenge of going fast through turns. There's a lot more going on. There's a lot more process you have to do. There's a lot more skill, in my opinion. I'm sorry to quarter mile guys, that's do you, but there's a lot going on when you're driving fast through turns. And I'm compelled to that. So what happened was, I have a house about 2 hours north of here. I've always had this house, and one day I'm fishing, and I hear bam, 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 bam. I'm like, that's not quads, what's going on? So I ask a local, and it turns out they built a racetrack a mile from my house up there. Thank you. So I look into it. They're mostly a motorcycle track.
Gods.
Yeah, I did thank the car gods. And I'm like, wow, how lucky am I? Right. I got this house up here. I can come up with my boys, go racing all day, and come back to the house, stay there, make a fire, shoot guns, have a few drinks. And that's what we do. And it's it's called New York Safety Track.
Yep.
It's 2.1 miles with 18 turns. It's a really challenging track. If you can drive that track, you can drive a lot of tracks. And the rest is history. As a car guy, who wouldn't take advantage of the fact that I have such a close track in proximity? I have also Monticello Motor Club a half hour from my home, but because I have that track, I don't see it being cost effective to have a membership.
Correct.
There, you know.
Monticello memberships are like 50 grand or something
for
like that?
The lowest one.
For the lowest
and that gives you 12 track days. And I wish I had time to track 12 days, but I don't. I have 2 young kids, and I have to run a business to pay for all this shit. So that's that. It'd be a waste to throw that much money away and only go 4 or 5 times, because it's not just the cost of going to the track for the day. It's the cost of when you break shit. It's the cost of tires. Tires are expensive.
Especially on these cars.
Yeah, they are. And they don't last that long when you're beating the crap out of them. Mm-hmm. So, but if I get to go 4 or 5 times, that's heaven for me.
So speaking of New York Safety Track, a few episodes ago, you guys watched me put the Panamera on that track. And man, oh man, I had an expectation that I knew what I was doing, that I know how to drive.
A lot of guys do.
I've hit the best back roads with the best of them. You know what I mean? And got on there, a little overconfident, going into I forgot, turn 11, where you drop down and it's the negative camber one.
Yes, that gets a lot of people, that turn. I don't know if it's 11. I forget the number of the turn.
I can't remember if it's 11 or 12, but it's one of those. And literally, I carried too much speed. It had just finished raining. The car's on all seasons.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So heavy car, all seasons, slightly wet ground, and it just plowed. Like it wanted to act like it wanted to try to go, but it was like.
So what? You understeered? It just plowed in the front?
Yeah, just understeered, and it went off into the grass. I just calmly waited, put my hazards on, and when the session was over, thank God nothing happened to the car.
Yeah.
I hit a little cone that was, the little cones
they're apex tones.
But my bump, everything is clear broad, so
thank God.
Whatever. But that experience right there humbled me so bad. On the next lap, literally, I'm making a turn onto the back straight, and everyone's taking pictures. You can see my face. I'm like this. I'm so scared.
And that's good. You got to be scared. Absolutely, you have to be scared. If you're not scared, you're an idiot.
Right.
So Mario Andretti has a great saying: if everything seems like if you're in control, if you're not out of control, you're not going fast enough.
Correct.
That's I'm not quoting it verbatim, but it's still along those lines. And that is racing. Racing is you're driving on the edge of control and loss of control, and that's what it's all about. Yep. And it is a humbling experience when you get on the track. I've had people on that track that are in cars that are way slower in a straight line, and they're pushing me, and I point them by. And then the unfortunate thing that comes with the GT3 sometimes on the track is you get a lot of overconfident people, and they see the track king car. The GT3 has always been revered as that, amongst others. And they go, you know what? I'm going to show this GT3. I'm not pointing them by. And there's a video I have of a guy in an R8, and I'm sitting there, and no bullshit, I'm driving with my knee, laughing. I could have put my windows up and had coffee and listened to music. And this guy's like,
fighting.
Yeah, and I'm like, this guy's gonna lose it. He's gonna lose it. He doesn't know that I'm taking it easy. I could have been inside of his bumper if I wanted to, but I'm trying to be respectful.
Right.
And I called it, and sooner or later, he went off the track. His left rear wheel went off track, and I guess that was his humbling experience. And then pointed me by. Peace out. And that's what happens on the track. It's all good. It's a learning experience. We all need to be humbled.
Yeah.
And that's just how it goes.
Well, I definitely got mine, man. Tell me about your first humbling experience on the track.
Last year, me and a buddy were in the GT3. It just rained. It was still a wet track. And, learning to drive in the rain is good. You have to learn what your limits are. And believe it or not, you'd be surprised how much traction your car would still have in the rain. Once,
I was shocked.
If your inflation's right, if your inflation's right, your tires are warm, and things like that, you'd be surprised. But still, it's wet. And I lost traction in a very fast section. It's after Wheelie Hill, which is scary as hell in itself.
The jump.
But yeah, you can't. And I came off of that, and that's a very fast back section, and probably doing around 90. And I lost grip in my front right tire, and I felt that thing. And if any Porsche owner knows it, with a rear-engine car, understeer is not your friend. You do not want to lose it in an understeer situation. Oversteer, you have a lot more capabilities of correcting it. And we almost had that. My front end shifted, and in that car especially, because that's my baby. Yeah, that was scary. And right after that, I was like, all right, let me slow my roll a little bit.
Right,
and that was that. Cool. Yeah, but that was definitely an eye-opening experience.
So Mark, man, I got one question for you.
Yes.
How did you say, I'm ready for a Ferrari? When did that happen?
I was ready for Ferrari when I was 10 years old. Just getting it was difficult and took some time.
Yeah.
Obviously, who doesn't want a Ferrari or Lambo or something of that nature? I'm very fortunate that I have the means to do it. I started my search. It was financially feasible, and it made sense, and I acquired this one. But I would say, I'm very fortunate that I have multiple choices here.
Right.
But if you're going to say to yourself, I'm getting one sick car, I don't, to each his own, but I would take the GT3 any day, or a Carrera S, something of that nature, a 997.1 or 2 GT3 over the 430.
Wow.
The 430 it's fast art. It's a piece of art. It is sexy. It exudes so much sex appeal, in my opinion. And I'm Italian, so also I have a love for them.
I got you.
But it's just not a practical choice to own. It really isn't. The attention is a pain in the ass.
Really?
Yeah, it really is. I'm not a fan of it, especially in the environment I live in. There's not a lot of exotic cars. So this thing sticks out like a sore thumb. I go for a drive with my wife, myself, and there's people doing really stupid shit to get your attention, hollering at you, taking your picture. It is annoying. And then when
next to you, almost hitting you,
yes,
trying to take a picture
things
of
like
it.
that. And then you park it and you're worried. One night I parked it at the Newburgh waterfront. I come home, I put it in the garage, I'm sitting on my couch, I'm like, you know what, let me go check the car over. And I find 2 handprints on the hood.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, like, it was probably maybe some chick was like bending over on the hood and taking a picture, but nobody touches my car. That's just it. And I never touch anyone's car unless there's an absolute reason for it.
Right.
So that's the shit that comes along with owning a Ferrari. Yeah. Unfortunately, it is what it is. I'm not complaining, but that you should know that going into it if you're going to purchase any Ferrari. It doesn't matter if it's a 308 or 458 Speciale. It does come with that. So if you like attention, by all means, have at it. But back to the car, it's a 2007. I bought it with 9,100 miles. It's now got, and it's built was 215. I got all the books and records for it, car cover. This was an option I was told. I got a little leather booklet of the car being built in the factory in Italy, and everything's in Italian, and I thought that was awesome.
It's a well-documented car.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all there. It's clean, and I've driven it. I've put like 3,500 miles on it since March of 2016. You buy these cars, you have to drive them. I don't see why having them sit in a garage and collect dust, and that does lead to breaking shit. The lack of use is usually your first killer in cars.
Especially
you gotta
cars.
Yeah, exactly. You got to exercise things. Like in the winter, this thing sat for 3 or 4 weeks. I didn't move it, and then there was like a little leak. I moved the car, I let it get to operating temperature and everything, never had a leak again. So that was another lesson learned. Car as it sits, it's just lowered. I have an S-line exhaust on it, which I highly recommend anybody with a Ferrari. If you're looking for an exhaust,
thing sounds ridiculous.
There's a myriad of options of exhausts.
Right.
A lot of them are expensive as hell, and nothing sounds like the S-line from my experience.
Right.
For best bang for the buck, and it's not intrusive in the car. It's not annoying. It's not loud. But if you're behind it, yeah, it's loud as hell. But it's a Ferrari. It should be loud. It's loud enough as it is when it's sitting. I'm going to put headers on it because they have a known header issue. Yep. These were replaced, so it's preventive maintenance and it's headers. So that's it. It's lowered. It's got ADV wheels, 20s on it, which I think make the car. And that's about it. It's a lot of fun to own. It's a lot of fun to drive. It sounds really nice. The F1 transmission sucks. It really does.
Especially if you drive a PDK
Well,
car.
that's it. I'm spoiled. But I did have an E60 M5 with an SMG, which everybody hated as well. But the SMG transmission is better in my opinion than the F1 transmission. It's a little bit more forgiving. In this F1 transmission, it's very clunky. Some people like that visceral feeling. I don't care for it. I've trained myself. When I'm driving slowly and normal,
you let off.
I lift between shifts, and it makes that transition sometimes better. It sounds amazing. You keep the windows down and you just listen. I hardly listen to the radio in that or the GT3. The radio is the engine. You have to have the audible experience is part of the experience of owning these cars. Right. If they're quiet, it's boring.
Man, I love it. I love your passion, not only for cars, but Mod to Fame. We are not the review people that's going to review a car, a stock car. Honestly, anybody can have that. Anybody
absolutely.
can do that. Where our passion lies seems to be where yours lie, and that's in customizing the car, modifying it. Tell me, man. I know you said you had the '87 Legend with the Nietzsche Bellas. So Motor Trend didn't teach you that.
No.
Where did that come from?
That's a good question. I've always been complimented on my taste for modern cars. Like I said, it's subjective. What you're going to do to your car, to each his own. I've seen some cars out there that are beautiful cars and they're completely ruined. But hey, I mean, not for nothing. If somebody worked really hard and that's what they wanted to do to their car, you can't knock them. That's their car. That's their self-expression of art, so to speak. This is my self-expression of art. These are all done in my head. I vision it, and sometimes you gotta roll the dice, especially with buying wheels. Buying wheels is sometimes the most stressful thing you could do.
And the most expensive.
Yes. So you're rolling the dice. Like, am I gonna drop $5, $6, $7 to $15,000 plus tires on a rim, and you just hope it's gonna fit right? You hope you don't put it on and now the car looks like it's sitting on stilts.
Exactly.
All this shit that goes along with it. And you get it and you're like, oh my God, once you put them on. And then sometimes it doesn't really look that good at first.
What you had in your mind.
Yeah, and you're like, damn, but then it grows on you or something.
Yep.
I've been very lucky with the wheels I purchased for my car. I've done well with that, especially in the Ferrari. These wheels on the Ferrari, the ADV ones, make the car. I get a lot of compliments worldwide because on Instagram and Ferrari chat, and I think wheels are the key element to modding a car. Lowering it is a must, and
thank
lowering
God
is a must.
You said that.
Absolutely.
Thank God,
you got to.
I
don't.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I get it. I feel bad for people in the city. People in the city, but yes. So lowering a car, wheels are a must. As for that,
ooh, you are speaking Bible.
That
right
is
now.
that is
Mod
paramount.
car
That is
Bible.
first order of business in any
Wheels
car.
and a drop.
Because a wheel sets it aside from everything else is out there. You can have any of these cars. If it's a factory wheel on it, okay, nice car, factory wheels. You put wheels on it, you lower it. Now it's a different car. Now it's your car.
Yes.
Now you've made it your own car because how many in the world have those wheels on it?
So yeah, everybody, I am now on my way home. Have a pretty nice little drive ahead of me. But my gosh, what an awesome time, man. Marc is such a cool dude, and his car collection, I could only see it growing from here. But so far, he's off to an amazing start. All the cars are modded, which is my favorite part. Just overall, I'm really, really impressed and had a good time. So if you like videos like these, again, it's a lot of work doing this stuff. So in order for us to keep doing it, we need your support. We need that like, we need that subscribe, and tell a friend about Mod to Fame. If you like what you see so far, we will keep showing you dope modded cars, dope car collectors with modded cars, and our own personal projects, whether it'll be Project Panty, which in about a week or two, I should have a video for you guys with the wheels on. Whoop, whoop. And Project Humble Pie is gonna get back on track real shortly. I had to put a hold on it. Money doesn't grow on trees. And you know, Joe is always keeping his beast clean. The 997 twin turbo, the Cayenne GTS, the Macan. He's always keeping his cars real nice. So we're gonna show you more of that stuff too. But we need that support. We need that subscribe. So make that happen. Thank you. Peace.